Good morning, my friends. Let's take a moment to explore the very first chapter of the Tao Te Ching. We're working with an adaptation of Stephen Mitchell's translation. It would help if I clicked the correct portion of the screen. Let's start in. Tao Te Ching, Chapter 1. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. My friends, typically conventional wisdom tells us that if we are going to start a book, write a book about the Tao, we're going to start by defining the Tao. But Lao Tzu is not going to do that. He's going to mess with us. All of us have within us the potentiality of every human emotion, from the glorious to the grotesque. Everyone carries within us the potentiality to be controlling. And Lao Tzu is going to show us our controlling tendency by frustrating it, by not giving us an easy definition to begin with. But don't take my word for that. Let's read on. The unnameable is eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. The literary method employed in this portion of the first chapter is called dichotomy. And we are dividing in two. Kind of like when you look at the leaf on a tree, it has a central vein going down the center. That's called a dichotomy. So we see two dichotomies, the first one being the unnameable, and the second is naming. The second two dichotomies, we're contrasting the eternally real with all particular things. Now, we don't have to know precisely what he means by all particular things, but viscerally, intuitively, when we contrast the eternally real with all particular things, the eternally real just kind of seems more appealing, seems more cool. But let's read on. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Now, in this page, we see again two dichotomies. The first dichotomy is freedom from desire or being caught in desire. This is a common teaching in both the teachings of Lao Tzu, the sage, and the teachings of Gautama, the Buddha. I'm going to put my face over here so you can see me gesturing wildly. Okay, let's continue. So we see the dichotomy between freedom from desire and being caught in desire. But now we see a second set of dichotomies exploring our perception and our comprehension. In the first dichotomy, we realize the mystery. In the second, we see only the manifestations, the superficialities. Now, if we're curious about the Tao Te Ching, if we have a hunger for spiritual insight, then most likely we're not going to be satisfied with simply the surface of things, like a doggy skittering across a tile floor. We want to dig deep. So we see the correlation between depth, freedom from desire, versus superficiality and being caught in desire, like a fly caught in a bit of flypaper. But let's read on. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This is interesting. We began with actually 3 sets, or a total of 6 dichotomies, 6 contrasts, and yet they're all being divided with the line from the same source. Good old Lao Tzu, the author of this text, zigged when we thought he was going to zag. That's significant. So instead of continuing to compare superficiality with depth, or being stuck in desire with freedom desire, we're going to see that all those things come back to the same source. What? What is that source? Darkness. Now, in the West, we have the habit of thinking about darkness as a reference to A, evilness, and B, ignorance. In the East, in ancient China, when they mentioned darkness, they would think of darkness as a reference to the feminine, but also as a reference to ignorance. Now, let's explore for a moment the idea of yin-yang duality, or male-female duality. When we're speaking of male-female in the context of Taoism, we're not talking necessarily about the shape of one's genital organs. We're talking quite often about attitude. Whereas the male energy is the energy of the patriarchy. It's aggressive, it's rigid, it's unyielding, it's controlling. Yin is the energy of matriarchy. It's flexible, it's resilient, it's permissive, it's very gentle. Arguably, the entire Tao Te Ching is a love letter to the path of yin. Let's continue. Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. So what are the 2 darknesses in this context? A, acquiescence of the yin path, and B, ignorance. So if we want to transcend our ignorance, the only way to do it in a meaningful, sustainable, truly transformative way is to do it through the practices of yielding, acquiescence, from a place of centeredness and its consequential spontaneity. That is the theme of the remaining 80 chapters of the Tao Te Ching. This is your first taste of it. In the comment area below, do let me know the last time taking an acquiescent or yielding approach turned out to be profoundly beneficial for you. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends on social media. And I want you to thank everyone who helps to support the Buddha Joy Meditation School so that we can continue making informative videos such as this. Until next we speak, may you and yours be healthy and happy.